hospital for 3 years, and since I've been here, there's been a significant amount of technology enhancements to the organization. We have put in, from a security perspective, a boatload of different solutions that will ensure that the hospital remains more secure from potential threats that we have both inside and outside the organization. One of the things we wanted to put in first was our data loss protection solution. So this data loss protection solution ensures that we have electronic monitors that stops unwanted, or whether by fault or by purpose, unwanted PHI, PCI, with protected health information or payment card industry data that goes outside the four walls of this organization, the digital walls. So this technology, again, allows us to monitor all activities and gives warning, advance warning, when something actually has been flagged that it's inappropriate to go outside of the hospital. So that helps mitigate our risk when it comes to solutions. Many other organizations haven't implemented that, but you're starting to see an upswing of companies starting to put that in place, because as new HIPAA omnibus rules come out, there's more, let's just say, the ability to be more liable if you have information out there, whether you can secure it or not. So tools like this is becoming more popular, but again, we're by far on the cutting edge of how we're utilizing these tools and ensuring security is in place. One of the things that we were doing for over a year now is providing alerts. We're using the repository, the data repository that we're getting from our EMR to send out alerts to our care coordination teams, to our providers, and these alerts are secure messaging to different providers as well as entities in our organization to allow them to know when a transaction occurred. And that transaction could be whether a patient has been presented into the hospital that has a potential readmission date, or if there's a sepsis patient, based on some criteria that's defined. A lot of these type of alerts have been beneficial to, make our care providers aware of a situation and then being able to respond to them in a more active environment and be persistent in taking care of the care, rather than waiting for traditional methods of communication, and which in essence can delay care. Several of the processes, what we do is, we actually take an active role, whether it's constantly participating in WebExes or going out to conferences to see some of the solutions. As a matter of fact, in our last, HIMSS conference, we brought back some technology that we saw from their Innovation Center, and it's been very well received here at the organization. And what we do is basically use proof of concepts, and what we're doing right now is doing an what we're doing is a iRoom, our innovation room, to help foster some of those technologies that we see, whether it's on the patient side, the client side, or on the back end side to see if they're best fit for our organization. So that's our way of vetting out solutions and see if they work for our business as well as our patients' care. Best practice methods as well as proof of concepts to have the solution integrated into our methodology. So again, not everything works, but we do some vetting to ensure that the systems are in line with our methodology. We always, most of the time, have to align to our vendor, our primary EMR vendor, so that we know what's capable, what's feasible, and what's not. And then also, making sure that the providers, the care providers, are on board with this. We'll work closely with our chief nursing officer to see that from a clinical side that we're right in line with the use of care with some of those products. Feedback, some not as good, but when there's not good feedback, that's a good thing, because that tells us that we need to go back to the drawing board and try to fix it, or even if that technology doesn't work for us in our vetting process, then it doesn't work and we move on. We have to be nimble enough to realize when when we're not successful at a particular process. So again, we work closely and we ensure that those solutions work out well with the care providers. Care transition, care coordination. This is a huge deal for the industry, and nothing different from our organization as we're developing our process and our methodologies. So one of the pieces here, we have to figure out how do we connect all facilities throughout the region to ensure that there's a continuity of care when it comes to the medical record. The medical record is transferable. We tie in with our regional health information organizations and be able to ensure that our physicians and our providers, whether it's the acute or subacute care providers, have access to the data, and being able to form one record or one area, one source of truth where people can go and access that information so that you can reduce costs, reduce unwanted tests, reduce the amount of time it takes to care for a patient, which in essence would ensure higher quality and higher standards for care. That are coming down the pike that we are very excited about. I don't know if there are any Star Trek fans, but there's if you ever watch Star Trek, there's a tricorder. It's a device that the actors used to use in order to scan the vitals of a patient without any contact. Well, one of the things that we're going to be promoting in our eye room is actually a similar technology called I won't give out the name, but it's able to use a recently declassified military-grade technology, which is considered an ultra-wideband radar solution, which in essence will, without contacts, without any type of devices being placed on the body, be able to read all of your respiratory and heart rate information, again, without contact. So it would be able to look through the body all at a small energy output. Again, this is all FDA approved. So we're working with vendors like this to ensure that these solutions are actually usable, and anybody will be able to actually access, any provider I should say, will be able to access that information. So in essence, when a patient's in the bed, they'll be able to be monitored without any contacts. That's a innovative and extremely high-tech solution that we hope to have in place in the next coming months and see some success behind those technologies. Another thing is we're looking at putting kiosks in our partner sites, whether they're the malls or pharmacies, and being able to have telemedicine solutions at that point. So that at those kiosks, patients would be able to go up, get their heart rate, get their blood pressure reading, as well as it would have a digital scale, temperature, height scale, and if they go through the process of utilizing these tools, and we realize that that patient needs further care, they would also be able to securely connect with a care coordinator and on a telemedicine, so the video would be able to be used right at that point of care. And if anything is escalated, they could either go to the hospital or a prescription can be sent to that particular respective area. So these are some exciting technologies as we talk about removing care from, again, these four walls and outside into the community. Well, I can tell you you, being considered one of the most wired hospitals is a huge initiative, a huge success. It's something that we've been looking at for years and haven't been able to qualify. But as of the last few years, we've put in so much technology and so many different solutions on the security side, on the patient safety side, that we are now, again, one of the few, less than 1% of hospitals, or a small percentage of hospitals in the country or the world that has been able to qualify for the most wired. What that means is that we are now utilizing a lot of our technology to do exactly what we've been talking about. How do we provide, the triple aim, the best quality, highest quality, lowest cost, in dealing with patients from the outside world. That's a huge piece. And being a most wired hospital, I have to say I'm extremely proud in our efforts and the efforts of everybody in the organization to allow us to achieve that particular award.